Beth, I'm just doing a mic check to make sure you can hear us. Okay, awesome.
I have it set down.
And are you able to pull a little bit away from your camera just because we want to make sure that we can see the, all of everything you're signing?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you great.
Okay. I got a notification on the computer, so I was reading it because it was really small. That's why I was
that's
close
cool.
to the monitor. But is this okay? Can you see me okay?
Yes. I just didn't want either of you to get cut off.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Bad things.
Okay. We're gonna get started in about 10 minutes, so hang tight. Thanks. Jenny, could you turn your camera on? We just need to make a couple quick tech adjustments. Thanks. You still stay on. You're good. Beth, come back. We need both of you. It's okay. This is why we do this beforehand. Okay, you're off that. You can off till we. Thank you so much. Okay. Beth and Jenny, if you could just let me know which of the two of you is going to be starting first with interpreting. It's going to be Beth.
Yeah.
Thank
you. And then
you.
we'll go about 20 minutes.
Yep. Got it.
Good evening.
Yes, these are nice.
Chair.
Go test.
Test.
Testing.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm Metro Board Chair Paul Smedberg, and I represent the Commonwealth of Virginia on the Metro Board of Directors. And let's see, I don't see any other board members here this evening. I know they've been chairing the other board meetings throughout the region. I'm joined this evening by Metro's Chief Financial Officer, Yetunde Olamide, and Jennifer Ellison, Metro's Board Corporate Secretary. Welcome to this public hearing on Metro's proposed fiscal year 2024 budget and capital improvement plan. This hearing is convened by the Metro Board of Directors to gather public comments on two dockets. The first docket, docket B23-01, Metro's proposed fiscal year 2023 through 2028 capital improvement program, and docket B2302, Metro's proposed fiscal year 24 operating budget and associated fare and service proposals. Notice of this hearing was made in publication in the Washington Post, and ads were placed in the Afro, Aref, Daine, El Tiempo Latino, Epoch Times, the Korean Times, and the Washington Hispanic, as well as throughout social media and radio. And signs were placed in all Metro rail stations, on buses, Metro access vehicles, and at select Metro bus stops. Notice was also made online and sent to area libraries. We are looking forward to hearing from you this evening. And well, for those of you who are going to provide testimony, we'll be taking testimony three ways this evening. First, in person, via video, and via phone. Before we take testimony, we're going to have a brief overview of the proposed budget. We'll begin with a short video, and then I'll ask our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Olamide, to provide a presentation with highlights from this year's operating and capital budgets. Okay, we'll start with the video.
Hi everyone, I'm Randy Clark, and I have the privilege of being the Metro General Manager. I'm excited to present our fiscal year 24 budget. Budgets are really about the values and priorities of an organization. And in this organization, delivering safe, frequent, reliable transportation is what we do, and our goal is to do it in the most equitable, sustainable way possible. I'm really proud of the effort the team has made in taking input in the budget process between a lot of customer engagement events out at stations, bus stops, working internally with our teams and employee town halls. We met with a lot of elected officials and key stakeholders. Your input helped drive the process, and we thank you for that. I want to also recognize our board. We've transparently had multiple board meetings talking about different concepts and investments in this budget, and their input has been taken into account. I really look forward to them having a deep review and their consideration of moving the budget process forward. Thank you again for all of your input into Metro's budget, and we look forward to seeing you on board the system. Have a great day.
We take this process very seriously, and in fact, we've already used some of the feedback that we've gotten from customers, community, the region, and our stakeholders to make some improvements and start some initiatives that address customer concerns. But the work doesn't stop there. Every penny in this new budget proposal will go towards making Metro service better. In fact, whether it's the low-income fare program, the wayfinding signage program, or training for frontline employees. All of our dollars in this budget proposal are being invested in making your metro better.
We're building a new Metro integrated command and communication center to improve coordination between bus and rail incidents. We're also centralizing training and building a training academy designed to create a collaborative environment and promote facility-enhanced safety, improve internal coordination, and better communicate with our customers when incidents disrupt.
We've included operational initiatives and capital projects to provide more frequent and reliable rail service, as well as simplified fares to improve our customer access to destination opportunities. And we've included capital investments to advance sustainability, including the solar carport at Anacostia, which will generate energy equivalent to that needed to power about 165 homes for a year.
We're focused on increasing our public safety efforts with more police and more visibility on Metro Bus and Metro Rail. By hiring crisis intervention coordinators to make sure that people with mental health issues get the resources they need.
We're also enhancing our video system, which includes thousands of cameras to help us quickly solve crimes and address disorder.
We're working to improve our bus and rail system daily. Our focus remains optimizing bus routes and increasing rail frequency. We're working to build our through recruitment and retention of Metro Bus and Metro Rail team members, which will support providing more reliable service in our region. We've increased 7K trains to ease crowding. We also have extended the Silver Line to the Washington Dulles International Airport by way of Ashburn. This budget proposal includes service improvements on the yellow, green, and orange lines, and also adds 3 new bus service enhancements for Metro. The team is working hard every day for our customers, and this budget supports providing better service to the people who need us most.
Our frontline maintenance professionals and our contractor partners are working day and night, 365 days a year, to ensure our tracks, powers, and signals continue to provide the safe and reliable service that our community deserves. Also, we continue to invest in our fleet to include new buses and trains and our Metro Access vehicles.
We're also building new facilities and supporting infrastructure that help in the fight with climate change. Metro's Northern and Bladensburg bus garages.
We apologize for that. Apparently the Wi-Fi isn't quite strong enough to run the video. You can watch it on YouTube or on Metro's site to finish up. But it does highlight several of the initiatives that the organization has carried out throughout the past year. Okay, now I'll turn the floor over to Metro's Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Olumide.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the public. My name is Yetunde Olumide, Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President. The proposed operating budget increases bus and rail service. It simplifies fares, launches the Better Bus Network redesign, and funds crisis intervention specialists. The proposed capital budget funds zero-emission buses and electrification of the Northern and Bladensburg bus garages. It opens a new Potomac Yard station, modernizes customer wayfinding, and funds the creation of Metro's Integrated Communication Center. Specifically, the proposed budget increases service frequency with trains every 3 to 6 minutes at stations in the core and trains every 8 to 12 minutes or better system-wide, benefiting customers across the entire network. I'll now present the fare and service optimization proposals. The FY24 service optimization proposal strengthens Metro's transit network by increasing frequency within the central portion of the system to serve fast-growing areas with high ridership potential, providing efficient and predictable transfers, and increasing job accessibility. The FY24 fare optimization proposal simplifies the Metro Rail fare for customers, grows ridership and revenue, and makes transit more affordable for the most price-sensitive customers. On Metro Bus, this slide shows the expansion of all-day frequent service improvements to 3 additional lines, the B2, A12, and 16M, while the docket includes the 4th additional line, 11Y, and the launching of the Better Bus Network redesign. On Metro Rail, service would improve with trains arriving every 3 to 6 minutes at stations in the core and every 8 to 12 minutes system-wide. Green and yellow line trains would arrive every 6 minutes all day, with yellow line trains turning around at Mount Vernon Square Station. Orange line trains would operate every 7.5 minutes on average during peak service and every 10 minutes during off-peak service. The proposed rail fare structure ranges from $2 to $6.50 for weekdays and maintains the $2 late night and weekend fares. Weekday peak and off-peak fare structure would be consolidated. The mileage rate would be standardized at 40 cents per mile after 3 miles. The rail base fare would match bus fare of $2 all week long. Metro would administer a regional low-income fare program. The fare simplification offers advantages over a general across-the-board fare increase by growing ridership while maintaining a positive budget impact. The proposed low-income fare program would provide customers enrolled in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, a 50% discount on trips, similar to seniors and disabled reduced fares. Now, proposed operating budget. Metro has been able to reduce the original deficit forecast for FY24. Starting from the left, the red bar shows the original $318 million deficit, down from $500 million. Over fiscal years 23 and 24, Metro projects an additional $150 million of personnel cost growth, mostly tied to labor and contract inflation. At the same time, Metro achieved operating budget favorability of $284 million in FY22 from reduced expenses and favorable operating revenues. As a result, Metro is now looking at a $185 million budget gap for FY24 that needs to be closed based on the options that have been previously discussed. To sum up the gap closure conversation, the anticipated $185 million operating funding gap will be closed through a combination of recovering ridership, revenue from non-passenger sources, revenue from fare optimization initiatives, expense management, and increased federal formula funding for maintenance. In addition, new above base service includes improved service frequencies on the orange, green, and yellow lines, more frequent service on 3 bus routes previously discussed, and the opening of the new Potomac Yard station. This table shows a comparison of the FY23 budget to the proposed 24 budget. I'll draw your attention to the bottom of the table, the federal relief. The total ARPA relief funding is budgeted at $561 million, which is the remaining balance we expect to have available for use in FY24. To the capital budget. The FY24 $2.4 billion capital budget and the $14 billion FY24 to 29 capital improvement program, which includes debt service and revenue loss from capital projects, focuses on Metro's capital investment on safety, the state of good repair, and reliability of the Metro Rail, Metro Bus, and Metro Access assets. Highlights of the budget include investments in the Northern and Bladensburg to enable them to run electric vehicles, life cycle replacement of bus and paratransit vehicles, 8K series railcar acquisitions, and railcar heavy repair and overhaul facility. The capital improvement program is funded by $2.4 billion of a combination of federal, states, and local, and as well as debt funding. That concludes my presentation, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Olumide. Before we call witnesses, I'd like to explain the testimony process this evening. As I noted, we have people joining us in one of three ways, and we'll be switching between the various cues during the hearing. If you are joining us via video, please keep your camera off and mute your mic until you are called on. If you're here in person, please come to the podium, which is right over here, when I call your name. If you need a microphone brought to you, please raise your hand and we'll make sure someone will come to you. If you're here in person and want to speak, please see staff outside at the registration desk. And Erica, if you could wave your hand if you'd like to speak and haven't signed up yet. If you're listening on the phone, you can press *3 to put your name in the queue to speak. You'll get a notification when it's your turn to speak. If you're watching this hearing live and decide you want to provide testimony, you can call 855-925-2801, 855-925-2801. After calling in, enter meeting code 7756. Once you're in the meeting, you'll be able to listen over the phone by pressing *1. If you'd like to provide testimony, you can press *3 and we'll put you in the speaker's queue. You'll get a message that it's your turn to speak. You can watch the hearing live online at WMATA.com/budget. And the video will be archived on the Metro Forward YouTube channel. If you're watching the hearing live on a different device, please make sure to mute the device so that there isn't any feedback. We'll be able to listen to the hearing while you wait in the phone queue. For the public record to accurately reflect who's providing testimony, I'll ask that you please state your name and any organization you represent before providing your testimony. Since this hearing is being recorded and will be available on YouTube, please do not provide any personal information, including an address, phone number, or email in your testimony. Elected officials will be allowed 5 minutes. Everyone else will be allowed 3 minutes each. Extra time will be given for translation if needed. We ask that you stay within your time limit because we want to make sure everyone who wants to speak has an opportunity to do so. I also want to note that each speaker is only able to speak once at each hearing. While you may have the option to rejoin the speaker queue, we cannot accept additional testimony at this hearing. I'd like to take a moment to recognize that this is where we listen to you. This is your opportunity to comment on the various proposals, and we are here to listen. We will not be able to answer questions during your testimony. For those of you who are here with us in person, Metro staff is available outside to answer questions. Detailed information is also available online, again at WMATA.com/budget. Your comments will become part of the public record that will be reviewed by the Metro Board of Directors. Changes to the opinions presented here tonight, or the options presented here tonight, may be proposed in response to testimony received and subsequent staff analysis. And now it's time to call on the first witness. As a reminder, please tell us your name and any organization you may represent before you start speaking. Our first speaker is Mr. Jim Chandler, and he is virtual, joining us tonight. Mr. Chandler.
Good evening, Chairman. Thank you. On behalf of the City of Hyattsville, I am here to express our city's opposition to the proposed service cuts to the WMATA Yellow Line, as proposed in the FY2024 operating capital budget. Proposed Yellow Line turnaround at Mount Vernon jeopardizes regional growth and access to job opportunities available in Crystal City and Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. The reduction in service undermines our ability to attract investment and economic development plans that have been jointly pursued by WMATA, the city, Prince George's County, and the state of Maryland over the past 2 decades. WMATA has communicated to our regional partners that it intends to prioritize transit-oriented development, including both stations in Hyattsville over the next decade. We have actively championed and supported this growth as it's created safer, more vibrant community space, attracted and retained local businesses that provide local jobs, reduces carbon emissions through more sustainable land use practices, and increases local and state tax revenue through denser mixed-use sustainable development. The FY2024 budget highlighted transformative equitability, stating that the budgets are about values and priorities with an organization. WMATA's public statements commit to regional equity and sustainability. WMATA's 10-year strategic plan to expand dense mixed-use development around 3 underutilized metro stations in Prince George's County was a momentous commitment to our residents, who in Hyattsville are 32% Black, 39% Latino as of the 2020 census. Budget suggested a serious commitment from WMATA to leverage the power of transportation and real estate investment to counteract longstanding patterns of disinvestment, racial segregation, and discrimination in housing and access to financing. With growing momentum in support of transit-oriented and inclusive development in our city, it came as a shock to us that when WMATA released its 2024 budget, it showed a significant cut in service with the proposed Yellow Line turnaround at Mount Vernon Station. It's clear to us that this service cut proposed through the budget will further isolate a dedicated ridership that mostly relies on WMATA services to access jobs, childcare, healthcare, and more. We believe that WMATA should consider the following actions as alternatives to the proposed service cuts. First, at a minimum, WMATA should hold community engagement sessions with our community to get more input on this decision and educate our residents about the proposed changes and how it will benefit us. 2, evaluate opportunities available in the federal bipartisan infrastructure package that the agency could use to address short-term budget gaps. These investments could be leveraged to expand TODs that create long-term revenue streams to more effectively sustain our system. Opportunities could include increasing the use of ground lease agreements and partnering with localities to apply for competitive grants such as TOD planning grants. 3, reevaluate its approach to assessing the equitability of its investments regionally. The regional equity of service expansion throughout WMATA's capital budgets and service should not strive for fairness alone. It should also account for historically and structural inequities that continue to present-day consequences for communities like ours, whether in terms of racial wealth gap, reduced access to jobs, professional networks, traffic safety, or discrimination of home appraisals. The lack of alignment between WMATA's strategic plans and the 2024 budget is very concerning. We understand the serious fiscal challenges facing public transit agencies since the start of the pandemic. However, we do not feel that the agency has adequately considered how the Yellow Line turnaround will negatively impact the potential for WMATA to benefit from past, present, and future TOD investment for alternative revenue streams and increased ridership in Northwest DC and Prince George's County. We hope that WMATA will reconsider these service cuts for their potential negative effects on our community and many similar majority-minority communities throughout Prince George's County. Moreover, we are concerned WMATA is not adequately leveraging the historical levels of infrastructure investment that are possible with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, as well as other major federal investments that could be used to proactively address structural inequities in our region. We thank the board, the chairman, for its consideration and look forward to your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandler. Next speaker is Jacob Vesalati. Mr. Vesalati, welcome.
Thank you, Chair Smedberg. Good evening. My name is Jacob Vesalati, and I'm a daily green and yellow line rider in DC and Maryland. Thank you to the board and Metro staff for the opportunity to speak tonight regarding the FY 2024 WMATA budget. While I acknowledge that green and yellow line headways are proposed to improve all day in this budget, I am strongly in opposition to eliminating all yellow line service north of Mount Vernon Square. It was only 4 years ago when Metro announced that yellow line service would be extended to Greenbelt at all hours, therefore eliminating a very confusing service pattern. Metro has since invested millions of dollars into updating signage at least 21 stations. The communities in Northwest, Northeast DC, and Prince George's County have also changed marketing strategies to promote ease of access to Virginia and Ronald Reagan National Airport. Eliminating this service only 4 years after it began is a waste of money and resources for the entire region. Signage and maps would now need to be changed yet again less than a year after the Silver Line opening. More riders would need to transfer, and those with disabilities would find it more difficult to reach their destinations due to the need to take multiple trains and pay attention to signage. With major growth occurring in Hyattsville and College Park, it is more important than ever to maintain a direct connection to the Pentagon, Airport, and Alexandria. Also, removing service from Fort Totten will eliminate a vital transfer station and increase congestion from transfers at Gallery Place Station, especially on the often crowded Shady Grove platform. The timing of this decision could not be more poor either, as the Yellow Line has not run since Labor Day and would reopen for only a month before the turnbacks are reinstated, likely leading to very confused riders at a time where Metro is seeking to improve customer experiences. If this is imposed, the Green Line north of Mount Vernon Square would be the only line to experience increased headways during rush hour when compared to current budgeted service. Late night headways north of Mount Vernon would also increase, which is problematic with 6 sports teams and 4 venues on the Green Line. And with the new so-called simplified fare proposals, I would be paying 30 cents more to get to work during rush hour and an additional 95 cents during off-peak hours. Also, why was only the Yellow Line considered for turnbacks and not the Green Line? Overall, these proposals seem counterintuitive to Metro's goal to expand destination access, grow ridership, and make pricing easier to understand. I would also request that the board consider increased funding allocated to fare enforcement efforts, since fares are proposed to go up for riders like me. And as part of the proposed capital budget, I ask that the board consider 3 improvements to the 6000 series trains, including full conversion to LED lighting, affixed to the thudding HVAC systems that startle riders, and repair or replacement of the left side operator microphones and or automated announcements on the 6000 series. Train operators are inaudible when using these speakers currently, which is dangerous in emergency situations and a big accessibility issue. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vasilati. Next, we have Mr. Leo Mayer. Mr. Mayer.
Hi, my name is Leo Meyer, and I'm from Virginia, and I would like to present my proposal for an M branch extension. So in the original plans for the Metro, there was an M branch extension that was in plan that extends from Pentagon to beyond via Columbia Pike, but that was never fully realized by Metro. So here is a proposed service structure for this Metro line, and you can see it follows the Yellow Line, but it goes to Pentagon and then continues beyond it. So it de-interlines the Yellow Line from the Blue Line, creating a much better and easier service structure than currently, because with all the interlining, it reduces service capacity. There are currently 80,000 students that live along this CERN corridor, and currently they will have to take a bus or some other means of transportation to get to Metro Station. And even then, the bus service and also shuttle service is severely limited. You can see here that all the universities that are along here include Northern Virginia community colleges, 3 of them, and then the George Mason University that has over 35,000 students. Here is a rendering of one of the proposed station designs. And one of the proposed passenger information displays for for the platform screen doors, which is also a safety improvement that could be introduced with these new stations that prevents a lot of the issues that Metro in recent news has had with safety regarding the just because of So the Vienna station is named Vienna Station George Mason University, but that's the same thing as in DC saying that Stadium Armory is George Washington University because they're both 4 miles away from each other. So it's kind of ridiculous to assume that a college student without a car is supposed to get to Vienna Station, whereas all the downtown college students have very reliable ways of getting to the metro that aren't 4 miles away from each other. And I also made a couple advertisements that are along with my renderings. Okay, thank you for listening to my idea. Thank you.
So Leo, when do you graduate? Leo, when do you graduate?
From Nova, I graduate this year.
Oh, okay. I think Tunde has a job for you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Leo. So we have 2 callers online. And our first caller is Mr. Posner.
Caller 811, you're about to be queued. 8151, sorry.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Philip. We can hear you.
Thank you. Let me tell you, I'm also watching the live stream on YouTube, and it's worthless. Everything has disappeared. There are 2 speakers behind, and they're now showing some woman showing clap tabards. So someone needs to fix the YouTube. But anyway, I don't want to waste my 3 minutes telling you that. Phil Posner, Arlington, Virginia. And please keep the proposed equity and accessibility enhancement plans, as well as those that were introduced during the pandemic. Please remember to include the disability community in Metro Access. Please continue the Better Bus Project enhancing surface routes. Please include accessible bus stops working with local jurisdictions, replacing those that do not currently meet accessibility standards, including curb cuts, signage, and shelters. The floating bus stops must provide safety for low vision, low hearing, and low mobility passengers, as well as all others. Major requests that you've heard before. There is a simplification of fares for all the bus and rail riders. How about the Metro Access riders? Currently, Metro Access fares are inconsistent and incredibly complex, so that on any given day, at any given time, the rider will pay a different fare going and coming, with as much as a $4 difference in those fares. The only fares that are accurate and simple for the Metro Access riders are the ones that were introduced during the flat fares on weekends and after 9:30. This is a simple fix. Mr. Webster and Yatunde have the numbers and know that doing that fix and extending it to the 24/7 will not bankrupt the system. It will just give equity to Metro Access riders. We'd also like to point out that extending the discounted fares on all transit modes is nice, but there are a lot of low-income people that aren't on SNAP, particularly now that the federal government is cutting SNAP. We'd also like to ask that the current Metro Access fare, as inconsistent as it is calculated as twice the comparable fare, full fare, on the, quote, fastest route. Well, everyone on Metro Access has a disability. Why isn't it twice the disability fare? We're not asking for that. We're just asking for consistency. Please give us a flat fare between $0 and $6. That will bring in more fare box recovery to WMATA and give good planning ability and understanding to the ridership. And the last thing, AAC and the RAC had a great presentation from Lynn Bowersox about the new 8000 series cars. And we hope that they will continue to keep both the RAC and the AAC involved in the accessibility design of those new cars. They did a good job on the 7000 series cars. Leave the mechanics to the engineers. Leave the maintenance to the engineers, but leave the accessibility to the people that really need it. Thank you very much. It's always good to visit with you guys. And thank you. YouTube has come back. I can now see Jennifer and...
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate your comments as always. I understand we have a second caller online.
Caller ending in 2267, you're about to be unmuted.
Good evening.
Good evening, Metro Board and staff, and thank you for this opportunity to provide feedback. My name is Brian Gannon, and I am a resident of Arlington County. Fortunately, I'm not able to make it in person tonight, but I appreciate this this method of being able to comment. I commute via the Silver Line to Reston, an average of 3 days per week. I've been riding the Silver Line since it opened, I guess about 8 or 9 years ago now. So I noticed ridership is definitely increasing these days, especially with the opening of Phase 2 and the major toll increase last month on the Dulles Toll Road. May have pushed some people away from driving. Inbound trains on Caps game nights are super packed by the time they even get to Reston. Caps fans coming out from Loudoun County. And I noticed while Silver Line isn't one of the lines proposed to see service increases, I hope you'll at least look at the numbers and make adjustments when it's appropriate. I am a fan of the $2 weekend fares and glad to see those are sticking around. And I appreciate the effort to simplify the fare structure. But midday and evening riders who currently pay off-peak fares will get hit especially hard. If I were to go to work during those hours, if I'm working half a day or something, my fare would go from $385 to $650, which is pretty significant. So I hope that can be at least looked at. And also, I would appreciate any updates on the fare evasion enforcement effort you guys launched last fall. I know that's a major concern. If people's fares are going up, it could be getting worse. And I think it's unfair for fare-paying riders have to bear that burden. So I hope you guys continue the efforts to take action against fare evasion. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We're going to turn to other speakers here virtually and in person, but if anyone is listening on the phone and you would like to be put in the speakers queue, you can press *3. Next, we have Shannon Smith joining us virtually. Not here yet. Okay. Next, we have Omkar Joshi.
Hi, my name is Omkar Joshi. I'm a student at GW. I'm second year. So I had a couple things to mention. I feel like Metro can take better advantage of the resources it has. For example, the parking lot outside. There's like 3 parking lots for very closely physically located institutions that are all like kind of like half empty, half full. I feel like it would be better for Metro to like hammer out some sort of deal to, consolidate that and make better use of the land. That's one thing. Building your own demand. I mentioned it at the strategic plan meeting, but in this case, I'm referring to electric power, things like that. Like you could put solar panels on top of the parking lots. It would provide shade during the summer for vehicles being parked, and you would get power back. You could even go so far as to put it on top of like the outdoor rails. I would definitely say budget for expanding service in terms of like new lines. That's ambitious, but I feel like it's something that should, at least be in the back of, the planning process. I do think there should be a bigger budget for community outreach, like, for example, at stations. I definitely think there should be people, to advertise this process better. And yeah, definitely adding 24-hour service, for example, between Tysons and Alexandria would be a good idea in terms of buses. I like the 24-hour bus plan in DC right now, but expanding it to beyond DC and connecting DC via bus to these other places like PG County, Montgomery County, etc. I feel like that would be something worthwhile as well. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next, Eshan Joshi. Who are you? Great.
Hi, I'm Ishan Joshi, and I've been on the Metro for 17 years plus. And not to brag, but my very first car on the Metro was 1102, good old 1Ks back in the day. But like many riders, I'm personally not a fan of the yellow line turnbacks in Mount Vernon Square instead of, service to Greenbelt. Not only is it for carbon emissions and practical reasons, but it also doesn't ensure the smoothness along the sharing of the green line. And what I mean by that is, let's say like a yellow line terminates at Greenbelt, terminates at Mount Vernon Square, sorry. It could cause a Green Line train to hold at maybe Shaw Howard or Gallery Place for an additional minute or two, increasing the amount of congestion at both stations. So that's one concern out of the way. My other concern is it would be highly ideal to consider the option of buying the smaller quantity of 8K cars. And since the 6Ks have arrived under the system, they've been impeccably quiet under the radar with its safety records. Other than the couple of issues that it endured in late 2020, it's not as significant as a 7Ks derailing a year later. And this doesn't give me any valid reason to retire them at 17 years of age. In case a similar event happens where 8K cars have to be temporarily removed from service for 8-10 months, the best Metro can rely on is the 6Ks and 7Ks instead of solely 7Ks if you exercise the 800 car option and eventually getting rid of the 6Ks. And when the 7Ks, and it's reminded me when the 7Ks got removed from service, it made me wonder what would have Metro looked like had the 5K cars remained in service. And you would have had, in addition to the 2, 3s, and 6s together, you would have had an additional 192 cars at the 5Ks, still holding Metro's back as it is right now. Also, if possible, when retiring the 3Ks, my best advice is to keep them in a long-term storage for the same reason if there's a major service reduction for a long period of time. I understand I understand this is no airline agency, but Lufthansa did a similar thing where they retired all their A380 double-decker aircraft during the pandemic simply because of demand. Now, 3 years later, they're bringing 6 of them back from long-term storage. So it's the same thing. If you retire 3Ks or 2Ks, keep them in long-term storage. Maybe go through like a second stage of rehab and bring them back if necessary. God forbid a service reduction happens. Thank you for your time, and I hope you take this consideration seriously.
Okay. Thank you so much. If there's anyone listening on the phone and you'd like to speak, please press *3. Anyone in the queue, Jose? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak that hasn't done so already? Okay. Mr. Joshi was our last speaker. You're welcome to submit additional written testimony. It must be received by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, March 15th. Testimony can be submitted online at wmata.com/budget. Online, you will have the option to complete a survey, write free-form comments, or upload a letter, petition, or other documents. You can also mail testimony to Office of the Secretary, WMATA, SECT. Again, Office of the Secretary, WMATA, SECT, 2E, P.O. Box 44390, Washington, D.C. 20026-4390. Again, all testimony must be received by 5 p.m. on March 15th. We encourage everyone to submit comments online if possible. You also have the option to speak via phone or video at the virtual hearing that we're holding on Friday, March 10th at 12 noon. Information on how to register for the virtual hearing can be found at wmata.com/budget. Thank you again for joining us tonight and providing your testimony. We hope you all have a good evening. Thank you.